All right, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2016. And with the new year, obviously we've got to have some changes, some new exciting things. So I want to talk to you today about some changes that we're making to Bruin Time. So got some really exciting things in the works, so definitely you want to listen to all this information. So Bruin Time, we've got three purposes for it. One is to support students who have some academic needs, that are struggling in certain courses and really need some additional support. The second purpose is to provide students with some time and some support to study and maybe work with their peers, ask questions from teachers. That's kind of that study hall format. And then the third purpose, which is going to be kind of the new thing, is to provide some enrichment and some fun things that you don't get to do in your regular classes. So those are kind of the three different types of Bruin Times that we're going to be offering this spring. So still only required for freshmen and sophomores, so juniors and seniors, you can, relax, unless you are a junior or senior with some academic needs in certain areas. Then we'll have you in some Bruin Times for those, as we have in the past. So our first priority is to get students scheduled into the Bruin Times that they need for remediation, and that's where you've had that D or F in that in that class, and we'll be basing those to start with on those final grades from the fall semester. So what we're going to do this week is schedule students into those first and get those locked in. And then next Monday, we're going to do our arena scheduling. So some of you will already have some of your spots taken up with some of those remediation needs. Some of you, it'll be wide open and you'll get to choose everything you want. And there may be combinations of those two things. So we also have a couple of special programs that some students will be scheduled into, where you'll have the same Bruin Time all 4 days of the week. I'm going to be involved with one of those with a group of freshmen, and that will be really to provide a lot of support and connection for a particular group of freshmen. And Mr. Savoy does a group for sophomores as well called Camp Savoy, so some of you may be scheduled into that. So once we get around to the arena scheduling on Monday, I want to talk to you about what those options look like. So first of all, if you are scheduled into a remediation Bruin Time, again, that's where you're going to have that smaller group with the teacher in the course that you've had some difficulty with, and you're going to really get a lot of intensive help with it. So it'll be really small groups. So that should be really helpful for you to be able to get the help that you need. Another option, and this is what most of you are familiar with from the past, is that study hall option. And that's where you have time to work on things, work on assignments, maybe ask questions of the teacher. Depending on the teacher and the setting in the classroom, you may be able to collaborate with peers if you have a group project or something like that, or it may be, hey, quietly sit there, work on your work, get things done. So it may depend a little bit on how the teacher runs their study hall. And then the other option would be SSR. So we'll have a couple of those opportunities where you could sign up for an SSR Bruin Time, and it literally will be SSR. So you'll have to have your book with you, bring that every time, and it'll just be silent reading, get all that good reading in, and without any distractions. So that could be a really nice thing as well. And then we're going to have all these enrichments, which are going to be new. So I want to talk to you about what some of those options are. One of them is Odyssey of the Mind with Mrs. Struva. We've got Media Arts with Mrs. Reef Snyder, Softball with Mr. Zahner, American Sign Language with Mr. McDonald, who does not know sign language. He'll be learning it along with you, so that should be really cool. We've got Basketball with Mr. Gansky, Future Student Leaders, again with Mr. McDonald, who teaches our student leadership program, so if you're interested in getting into that kind of thing. We've got the STEM Club with Mrs. Weir and Mr. Ronka. We've got Archery also with Mrs. Weir, that's pretty cool. Improv with Senor Mason, who's hilarious, so that should be a good time. Career Development with Mr. Pash. We've got Art with Miss Jens. Weight Training with Mr. Bickmore. Yoga with Mrs. Gouveia. And Cooking and Nutrition. I'm so excited about this. It's going to be offered through Mrs. Reef Snyder, and we'll have a parent volunteer who's got a lot of experience teaching cooking classes, Mrs. Prosser, who's going to come in and teach you how to cook and teach you about nutrition. So really excited about all that. There are some other enrichment opportunities that are attached to a certain class or a certain program that some of you may also participate in, like yearbook, or if you're in Starlight, dance, some of the dance programs, ag mechanics. So some of those, if you're in the program, you would also maybe participate in that Bruin Time. So in your English classes, what I want to have you do is your English teacher is going to show you the Bruin Time schedule, and I want you to really take a look at it and study it and come up with some different options for each of those days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And have a few different ideas, because they may be full by the time you're able to get in there and get your sticker that you're looking for. So come up with some backup plans too, and you may want to talk to some of these teachers about what they're offering and maybe find out a little bit more about it. And although we have a lot of really fun enrichment opportunities here, still think about that study hall too. I mean, that's a good time to get some things done, and then that way when you get home at night you don't have quite as much to do. I know a lot of you are really busy with other activities after school as well. So few other little procedural things that we want to make sure we're all on the same page with. We're putting a lot of effort into making Bruin Time really effective, really helpful for students who are needing the help, and then also providing all those fun things for you too. Is so we want to make sure that we're really running smoothly with it. So one of the things is, if you're in a remediation Bruin Time, you're going to stay in there for the quarter, unless at the IPR, if the teacher makes the request to your counselor that you're taken out because you have a really strong grade of a really solid C or higher, that would be the teacher making that decision though for you. Otherwise you'd stay for the quarter. And then at the quarter, we're going to do this whole thing all over again. We're going to look at all the grades, put people in remediation if they need it, let you make those choices all over again. At the IPRs though, if we have new D's and F's, people will be scheduled into those Bruin Times that they need. So definitely keep those grades up, and that way you'll have a lot more fun options and you won't have to miss out on something that you're enjoying doing, so that you could go into the remediation Bruin Time instead. So the other thing that we want to really kind of tighten up on is the movement between classes during Bruin Time. So you're in a class, we really want you to stay there unless there's really a need that's urgent that you've got to do to go to another class. If you're in a remediation Bruin Time, we're saying you're there, you're staying, you really need it, that's the place you need to be. If there's something else that you need to do, it's really going to depend upon the teacher, your teacher that you're assigned to, reaching out to that other teacher to see if that's something that's doable. But we're really going to limit that as much as we possibly can. We want you to stay put where you are. The other thing is, if you need remediation, that's going to take precedence over everything else. So you may have some other Bruin Time that I really should be in that, I'm part of that program. If you need remediation, that's where you need to be. That's the top priority for us, so everything else is kind of secondary to that. And the library will have limited access during Bruin Time for people just kind of coming in and out. Although juniors and seniors who aren't assigned to Bruin Time will be able to go in on certain days and still work on their homework and that kind of thing. There are a couple of Bruin Times that are offered by the library though, so you could actually sign up to have the library as one of your Bruin Times. There's one that's going to be focused around math and one that's focused around English. So think about that. It's a great environment to be in, and you could get some help from Mrs. Keller as well. So that's pretty much what we have going on. I'm excited about it. The teachers have worked really hard to put all this together, and the office staff and counselors, and I think it's going to be great. So we really appreciate you guys taking a look at the schedule, really studying it, coming up with some good ideas. Ask your teachers questions, come ask me questions, or your counselors if you would like to, and we'll do that arena scheduling on Monday, and then the following week is when we'll actually get started with the new Bruin Time schedule. So thank you very much for your attention. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon. Go Bruins!